Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Brian Schrader. I'm back at you with part one of the uh, Distillery Network still build. I currently am going to, in this video, show you the tools that you needed and some basic metal prep to make your life a little easier. The instructions for this build are kind of vague, so I'm just going with the knowledge that I have from work. I'm a sheet metal worker by trade. So with this, this is kind of right up my alley as far as fabricating these. The basic tools you're going to need for this build is going to be clamps, a lot of them. So there are two types of clamps that, or actually there's four types of clamps, but there's two types of clamps that you're going to see when you're going into the stores as far as like the jaw style. So a lot of the ones you'll see have like a swivel set of jaws like this, swivel back and forth. These are good when you need to clamp kind of a wider area. Then there's also these type of grips that only grip a smaller portion, so you can get a more consistent bite out of just these smaller ones. So when you're clamping over thicker metal and you need to clamp it together tight, really tight, which that's what this is for, these are more ideal. If you have both, I would suggest having both with you. You never know what you're going to really run into as far as that goes. And then you're going to need a set of needle nose vice grips. So we have three sizes of vice grips also. You don't necessarily need all three sizes. The main ones you're going to need are the big 12 inchers and probably the 4 inchers, but it won't hurt to have 6-inch vice grips also, or C grips, I should say. And that will make your life a lot easier when you're going to clamp the seams together to solder it. So a couple optional things that you will make your life a little easier when you're building these and making more of a consistently round product this is a double, called a double butt gauge. This particular one is about $90. I would suggest you just get a, they sell little like Malco ones for like $5. They go from, I believe, 1/4 inch all the way up to 3/4 of an inch. This thing can scribe up to 4 with double, or with two different ones. So if you got to set two different laps, you can scribe one and then flip it over and scribe the other one. This one's built from Benoit sheet metal. I will probably be doing a product review or a tool review on this, but this isn't necessary for this build. This is just something I have from my trade. So anyway, without further ado, I will kind of show you how fitting this is going to work. So I'll clear this off real quick. So in your kit, you're going to have these blanks. These are, for this particular one, this goes to the thumper. So what you're going to want to do is take this round piece, set it down on the table, and then squeeze the thumper body around it, and then take a clamp and then clamp it off. And then you can, that gets you close, just clamping the top like this. So at the bottom you'll see that it's still kind of splitting a little bit. So what you want to do is take this and set it in there, kind of line it up nice like that, and then you can squeeze squeeze it together, getting it as tight as you can, just past this little lip right there that it has in there. It's called a hem, right past the hem. So it's going to inset about 3/8 of an inch. And then you could take a pencil or something and then put a mark there. And that's going to be your lap. So each one of these laps on this seemed to vary. I went ahead and already pre-lapped everything, or pre-prepped everything, and made sure that everything was going to fit right and I didn't have any problems. So what you can do from here, you got your pencil mark right here, take a tape measure and measure how big of a lap that is. This lap is a 1/16 over a 1/2 inch, so a 1/2 inch lap's pretty standard. So at that point, you would set your butt gauge or your scribe, whatever you have, and then scribe a line down the side you're lapping, just like this. So now it's going to give you a nice, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's a 1/2 inch mark all the way across. And so when you go to line up your seam, you just line the seam up with your mark and then clamp it. So clamp on your mark. All right, so now you see how we got, it's kind of raised right here. There's this little gap. That's where your bigger clamps are going to come in handy. So you take a 6-inch clamp, come in, clamp it down. Now with copper, you don't have to clamp it super tight because it's very malleable and easy to work with, so you don't have to clamp it to the moon. It's going to work, it's going to roll or work with you a little bit when you're clamping it down. So, and then with the bigger ones, this one may not be necessary for the thumper body, but it will be for the main body. And bring it in and clamp it just like this, right in the middle. Now when you're clamping these, you want to make sure that you keep your the jaws away from the seam a little bit, because when you're soldering it, it's going to interfere and steal your heat while you're soldering also, but it's going to interfere with it and you could get some solder on your clamps and then you got to fight your clamps off. But as far as this goes, this is the basics of what you're going to want to do to start with. Do that to all of your parts, your main body, your thumper, and your condenser. So from this point, I'm going to, the next video is going to be a kind of short thing on actually how to solder. I'm not an expert by any means at soldering, but it's not too complicated. So I'll also give you specifics on, you know, which way the laps go, and we'll just keep on building this thing together. Like I said, the instructions for this are kind of vague, so I hope you guys learn from the mistakes I'm about to make on it, which hopefully aren't very many, but I'm going to do as much as I can to make this this process easy for everybody. And who knows? Well, let's make something cool. All right. Have a good one.